Hello, I'm Daniel Howard from Technological Overdose, and here is your daily dose for September 23rd, 2012. This episode is completely centered around today's Apple keynote, which took place in California not too long ago. And with that said, let's go through some of the updates. The iPhone 5 sold out on its first weekend on market, making it the fastest selling phone ever. That's 5 million units in a single weekend. The iPad has sold over 100 million iPads since the original iPad was released just 2 years ago. Since the introduction of the latest range of iPods, they've sold over 3 million units. In just 1 month, over 200 million devices have iOS 6 installed, and the App Store now has over 35 billion downloaded apps, and over $6.5 billion have been paid out to developers. Also, a new version of iBooks is available today for free, and it adds features such as continuous scrolling, iCloud support to sync book progress across all iOS devices. So for example, when you stop reading on your iPad, you can pick right up where you left off on your iPhone. And you can share your favourite quotes from a book, and there is added language support. Now let's dive into some of the products. A new 13-inch MacBook Pro was announced with a 13.3 in-plane switching Retina display, a 75% reduced glare from the previous model, and a resolution of 2560 by 1600. To put this into context, your HD TV probably has a resolution of 1920 by 1080. So this 13-inch screen has a higher resolution than your big screen TV. That's incredible for a computer that's just 0.75 inches thick. That's 20% thinner than the previous 13-inch MacBook Pro. It also weighs in at 3.5 pounds. That's a whole pound lighter than the previous 13-inch MacBook Pro, making it the lightest MacBook Pro ever. As for internals, watch out, it gets a bit geeky here. It comes standard with an Intel Ivy Bridge processor, Intel Graphics 4000, 8GB of RAM, and up to 768GB of flash storage. As for the ports, you get the new MagSafe 2 for charging, 2 Thunderbolt ports, not to be confused with Lightning, that's Apple's connector for all the new mobile devices, 2 USB 3.0 ports, a HDMI port, and an SD card reader. And all of this starting at $1,699 US. A new Mac Mini was also announced with upgraded internals and some changes in ports. It starts at $599 for the standard model and $999 for the server model. It starts shipping today. A brand new iMac was also announced today with a really thin body with an edge of just 5mm. It comes in 2 models, the 21.5-inch with a resolution of 1920 by 1080 and a 27-inch model with a resolution of 2560 by 1440. Both models also have a 75% less glare than the previous model. For internals, you get a standard with either an NVIDIA GT 640M for the 21.5-inch model and a GTX 660M with the 27-inch. It also comes standard with an Intel Ivy Bridge processor, up to 32GB of RAM, and either up to 768GB of flash storage or up to 3TB of hard drive storage. The 21.5-inch model will be released in November, starting at $1,299, and the 27-inch will be released shortly after in December, starting at $1,799. Now, people like the performance of flash storage, but they also like the capacity of a hard drive. So Apple announced today the Fusion Drive, which combines flash storage and a hard drive for maximum performance. Both drives will be fused into a single volume, which means it will show up as a single drive, and by doing this it achieves faster data read and write speeds. Also, the operating system itself and all of its applications are installed directly onto the flash storage, which means that everything will be faster. And depending on how frequently you use different applications, they will also be moved onto the flash storage from the hard drive for increased performance. And the best feature? It's baked straight into macOS 10, which means you never have to install or configure anything. It just works. Also announced today was the 4th generation iPad with a new A6X chip, which brings twice the performance than the old A5X and double the graphics performance of the A5X as well. It retains the legendary all-day battery life that the iPad is so well known for, keeping it at 10 hours. It also gets the new Lightning connector that is fast becoming standard on all of Apple's mobile devices. It starts at $499 for a 16GB Wi-Fi model and $629 for the cellular version. Also announced alongside the iPad were some new Lightning cables, so you can now purchase a Lightning to USB cable, to SD, to HDMI and to VGA. The USB and SD to import photographs and videos, for example, and HDMI and VGA so you can hook up your iPad to a TV or monitor. And, as a surprise to no one, Apple finally announced the iPad mini. This is a device with a 7.9-inch screen. It's 7.2mm thin and only weighs 0.68 pounds. That's as thin as a pencil and weighs the same as a pad of paper. The screen also has the same resolution as the iPad 2, which is 1024 by 768. So all of the apps that work with the iPad will work with the iPad mini without the developers having to do any work. The iPad mini will also use the Lightning connector. Also announced was a new smart cover just for the new iPad mini. This is a screen cover that magnetically attaches to the iPad mini with magnets, automatically waking up and putting to sleep the device whenever the cover is opened or closed. The Wi-Fi version will be sold for $329 for the 16GB model, making it the cheapest iPad yet, and will be available starting November 2nd. The cellular version will also be available 2 weeks later, starting with the US market and later available to the rest of the world, and will be priced at $459 for the 16GB model. As for international pricing, there will be a short picture at the end of the video showing you a diagram of the pricing for the new devices. So these were the announcements from today's Apple conference. Tell me what your opinions are in the comments below. I've been Daniel Harry from Technologic Overdose, and this has been your Daily Dose.